Hello, 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 everybody out there in the world today. I hope you guys are having a fantastic evening. I am Majestic Marie, and Alora is here too. We are
Hi.
finally together after like what seems like a million years.
Yes.
And we have a very special guest too, the third peach, our good
Of
friend Tom Clark.
course.
What is going on?
I'm doing great. I'm in the intro of the show. I had no idea I'm in the intro. I'm flattered. I love it.
That was really good. I
Thank
said she
you.
had to put the Mox moment in there.
Of course, that's the best part of all any of our watch alongs that we've ever had was that look.
Well,
That's
I'm
good.
glad I could provide that moment for you.
It was great. It was great. All right, so we got some people in the house today before we start. Our friend Carlos is here. Hi, Carlos. How's it going? And today we are pretty much staying with AEW, guys. We're not going to talk about WWE today. It's all about Revolution because Revolution is this Saturday. And it looks like a pretty stacked, pretty good show going on. So we will get into that in just a few minutes.
I thought it was
Um,
Sunday
I think it's
Revolution.
Sunday. I
is it Sunday?
The
think so.
I
fifth,
thought it was
yeah.
Saturday. Okay. See,
Hey
they
Brino, how
bounced.
you doing? Good to see you.
Brino Royce, he is going to be on the show in May, so you guys make sure you check that out when the time comes. We're excited about that.
Yeah.
And I can't ever keep up with when these pay-per-views are. They jump from Saturday to Sunday like all the time. So it's like, okay, I don't know when it is. All right, so real quick, we're going to take
Saturday
care
to
of some
Sunday.
news.
Yo, oh.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was quoting Eminem.
Oh, okay.
Saturday,
W-
Sunday, Monday to Sunday. Oh, something like that.
The Ring of Honor weekly shows start on Thursday on their streaming service, Honor Club. I wasn't going to subscribe, and then someone sent me spoilers and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to be subscribing now. I won't tell the spoilers. I won't tell, but I was pretty happy to hear the news of what people gave me. So yeah,
Oh, I wonder what it could be.
it involves a certain person that I like a whole lot.
Yeah.
so,
I
so
wonder
Tom, are you
who.
going to be subscribing to Ring of Honor Club?
So I subscribed to them when they were still Ring of Honor, like the actual company,
Okay,
and it was cool because all the pay-per-views were included, so it was awesome. Uh, and you've got that back catalog, of course, that goes way back.
right.
But I probably will, honestly, if for no other reason than to have that catalog. But I'm glad to see this is finally happening. I'm glad they're doing it in this fashion. I think personally going after another TV deal. Um, I'm not going to say that would be that's the wrong decision. I don't think it'd be the wrong decision, but I think it's smarter to go with streaming at this point because why fight that? Why get another battle with another network or why have to go through TV deals or what have you? I mean, I think this is smart and he's got Khan's got a big enough locker room to accommodate this and as we
Right.
all know, men and women who aren't getting a shot on the main shows. So this will be
Right.
good for them. I'd like to see them elevate Ring of Honor back up to a standard. And honestly, I'm not of the mindset that it's been lessened to any degree. I don't think they've done anything to cheapen it, in my opinion. I think it's just been dormant. It's just kind of been sitting there, and they've put the titles on TV. You can make the argument that Jericho, with all the storyline he did, but honestly, he was just trying to bring attention to the brand. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I think he did fine. So I'm anxious to see how it goes, but I'm glad to see this is happening finally.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea that leading up. At first, I wasn't happy with it because I was like, I want to see the AEW stuff, right? And why is the Ring of Honor all over the television? You know, but thinking back on it, it was probably a good idea since they are doing the streaming service. They were able to familiarize the people with the talent and those titles and everything, and so they will be more familiar with Ring of Honor and with their talent now after them being on television. So that might bring in some more people than they would have initially brought in.
Yeah, I think the main purpose of that too is to just establish the presence. I got a alfalfa cowlick going on my hair, but
Dear Darla, you make me sick.
you make me vomit. But yeah, I think it's to establish the presence of Ring of Honor, and it's not like Honor Club is super expensive. It's $9.99 a month, I think. All right, and so it doesn't break the bank.
True.
So,
Well, if you
I'm
add
just
up
glad to see
everything
something
else,
going with it now. I knew it was going to take a while before they did anything, and really and truly, being on being syndicated, really, it, aka being on at 5 o'clock in the morning when everybody's asleep. I mean, so well, hopefully that works out for them in the long run.
yeah. Our friend Ray Dean is in the chat.
What's up, Ray?
Hello, Adam Cole is king.
No, you do say. You don't say. Tell me.
No way. I had no idea. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Just for you, Ray. Even though, he says Tom is my BFF, and the Braves cheated. Still upset about that.
He'll never let it go.
No, never.
Never.
Let it go. It's not my fault that the Braves was just better than the Mets, okay? It's not my fault.
I knew that would make your day when I saw that, Ray.
I'm excited about that. I love Slim J. He's a wrestling hero here in Georgia, so.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, Timothy, how are you doing?
What's up, Tim?
All right. We have our regulars here in the chat, and we have our good friend Tom with us. So are you guys ready to break down this card here?
Sure.
Ready to roll?
All right. Let's do it. Okay, first off, we're going to go ahead and talk about the tag team match. We have the Gun Club, who is our AEW World Tag Team Champions at the moment, versus the Acclaimed, versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett versus whoever's going to win another Battle Royal on Wednesday. I don't know who that's going to be, but any predictions on who that last team is going to be, and any predictions on who is going to win this match right up in here?
I'll throw it out there and say I believe FTR, and then FTR wins their belts back.
Okay.
I could see that. Yeah, Mina almost messed up the podcast, but she's been going through it, so y'all excuse her tonight.
Yeah, I think that'd be a nice twist. I think they've been laying low for a reason. I don't believe they're done. I mean, anything could happen, right? But I don't believe they're done. I think they've just been laying low and probably resting up, and I think they had earned a break anyway.
Right.
So, is that why you drop them to the Gun Club before? Probably so, and just give them a very short title reign, and just because they did the the trash talking, and they were mocking FTR and everything when they weren't there. And, either the Gun Club retains and FTR's not in the picture, and they come out at the very end of that match and challenge them for the belts, or they show up Wednesday and then show up at the event and take the titles from them. That would be my not long shot. It's not a long shot. That would be my hopeful guess, because I think that'd be a cool little moment.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, at first I was like, why are we not just getting a traditional tag team match between the Gun Club and the Acclaimed? I was like, for a good hot minute, I was like, this was what I want. I'm going to be selfish. This is what I want. And I'm upset that I'm not getting it, and they're throwing in these whatevers. But then I started thinking about it, and to your point, Tom, if FTR were to come in there and take the titles off of the Acclaimed, that would not be a good idea. So if you want to put the titles on FTR, what better way to do it than to put the heat on a actual heel team with the Gun Club doing it first? And then you have all these other different teams to where FTR can win the titles off of someone else and not actually having to pin the Acclaimed, and then kind of, doing whatever, really great babyface tag team run that they would have after getting the titles. So I think this is the smart way of doing it.
Yeah, and honestly, you can make the case that the Acclaimed didn't. The Acclaimed are so over to have what they have 2 title runs. Do they need the belts? They're so over. They're the hottest tag team that company has. And then, also at the same time, does the Gun Club need them? They're still young. They
Right.
still have great heat. They're still getting over. They're still working on, establishing who they are in that company. Do they necessarily need them?
Not right
put
this
them,
second, no.
right.
And
Put
they
them back
got
around
this,
the waist of FTR, the veterans, and let them take it from there.
and they got a long story going with the Acclaimed as well, with Daddy Ass in the middle of the entire. He's the focal point because he's the common denominator here. So I mean, there's so many good things going on, and I don't think they would need the tag titles after Revolution if they're going to continue, um, their dispute or whatever.
Right. Carlos says, I hope they put Ring of Honor on TV eventually. I don't like everything being online. I understand that point, but at the same time, there's not a whole lot of people who actually watch television all that much anymore. So, I mean, I don't know.
Even all the major networks have their own apps now because they
Yeah.
know it's, really anymore, it's just a matter of convenience. I mean, you could say it's the digital age, it's 2023, and all that's true, but I think it's just more a matter of it's just convenient. Like my favorite show's on tonight, and I'll watch it tomorrow, so I'll get
Right.
the app. I mean, it's who knows how it shakes out for these networks in terms of ad dollars and revenue and all that, because you still got to sit through commercials even though you pay for the app.
Right.
So they're still getting kickback on that. Most of the time you can't fast forward those things anyway. So
Nope.
I would dare say, and for me it's convenient. I mean, it sure is for you guys too. Like sometimes you forget something came on, and thank God for the apps, you can watch it the next day. So
Right. Or you just
man, back in the day when if you didn't watch it then, you were screwed.
or you had to record it at least.
Try, yeah. If you forgot, oof. I tell
and
Alex all the time, I'm like, you have no idea how good you have it. I don't want to hear you bitch about anything at all.
you go to the bathroom during commercial breaks and then your sibling yells, "It's on, it's on, it's on." And you leap in furniture to
Yeah.
get back.
Yeah.
The good old days.
Yeah. Good old days.
We sound like a bunch of grandpas, like, right back in my day.
Oh,
It's
God.
those, and we're on the Facebook. Hi, kids. But those ridiculous posts about, back in my day, we played outside and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shut up. Get over yourselves. I love the internet. My job is all digital. I love social. Just stop. I don't get this. Technology's our friend, ladies and gentlemen. Quit mocking it and ridiculing it. One day the machines will take over and you'll all be sorry you weren't on their side. I vouched for the machine. So I'm securing my place for the revolution because it's coming. I'm telling you. Gotta make sure I make it through it.
I went to pick up Alex from school a few weeks ago, and I haven't been to the high school since I graduated 22 years ago. And they have kiosks to check the students out, and they have kiosks for when they're late to class. And I'm just like, CCHS in 2001 would never, ever. And then they got like vending machines. They have they have an app they can download, have money on it. I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't want to hear. That's why I tell them I don't want to hear nothing. Nothing. School sucks. I don't want to hear it.
We may have went to school in the wrong time, but we're definitely living in the right time, I think. Because, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think so anyway. Oh, speaking of something, I was looking at the screen here. I don't know how I feel about the Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett combo. I'm not anti per se, but they got a whole lot more than I bargained for, honestly. I mean, is there a world in which these two guys walk out with those titles on Sunday?
I think it could be a possibility.
There could be a possibility, and if people are
I
wanting a
won't say
shock,
they have zero chance, but yeah, it's very possible.
he has some mad people up in there.
Oh yeah, well, Jarrett's got his share of haters for various different reasons, for whatever that's worth.
I'd probably laugh, honestly.
Ray says we all look 13. Thank you. I don't feel 13, but thank you. He said that Mina said the Braves cheated. Yeah, Carlos. Yeah, that's what we're thinking. Timothy says it's going to be Tom and Ray winning the tag titles of Revolution. Heck yeah. We'll definitely have to do a show about that. Have a great interview and everything.
As long as Ray takes the heat in the match, and I'll take the hot tag. I can't be getting this face messed up. So,
Will Moore, thank you for joining us. Hello, ladies, and Tom also agreed with Tom on the tag team. I guess he's talking about Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Can you see Daddy Ass turn heel on the Acclaim? Is it coming?
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it either.
The Saint has joined us. What's up, y'all? Sounds like a good spot for FTR. I guess everybody's on the same page with that.
I think if you took Billy away from them, you should do it in which the stipulation is if the Acclaim lose, they lose Billy as their manager. And then that way they end on good terms and he can go do something else. And they can occasionally cross paths backstage and scissor or whatever. But, they won't need him forever. You could argue they don't need him now, but he's such an integral part of that act. In my opinion, it's a horrible time to take him away from them. I'd leave it the way it is.
Well, it's still fresh.
Don't fix it.
It's still fresh and it's still a whole lot of fun. I don't want to see him break off from the Acclaimed either. And we can newsflash everybody, you don't have to have someone turn heel and punch somebody in the face in order to get them away from them. So, I mean, take New Day, for example. They go off and do their own little thing and then they come back and then, yada, yada, yada. So don't have to have that happen all the time. And I wouldn't want to see him turn on the Acclaimed, and definitely not anytime soon.
For sure.
All right. Next up. I think it's a Texas death match. Am I right on that?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to double check. Hangman Adam Page against Jon Moxley. I don't know how I feel about this. It's going to be good because both of these guys are really good. I don't know how I feel about how the build has gone so far.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what's the whole point to this, because maybe I missed it. Because I did try to catch up on AEW before I came on here. I'm not sure what the story is behind it. I don't know if it's just an ego thing or excuse me.
Well, basically, they've both been wrestling each other in different matches for a couple months now.
Okay.
And then this guy will win, and then that guy will win, and then this one will knock him out, and then he will knock the other guy out at the next one. And it's just kind of been like, okay, well, this is kind of like the be all end all. We're going to end this this match. No one's a heel, no one's a babyface in this. We're just trying to see who the, I don't know, the big tough guy is in this. I
I
think
got you. Okay.
that's what I get
just,
anyway.
yeah, I was just sitting there watching, and I'm like, okay, so what's the purpose of this again? And that's no disrespect to anybody, because both of these guys are, like you said, they're both very good in their own right for their own reason. And well, one thing's for sure, we know Mox is gonna bleed. There's that.
I think for me, it's more about this is all about the both guys have such competitive spirit, and I think I like that there's no title involved. I like there's no contendership and no first title match at stake. There's no loser leaves town, anything like that. It's just Paige's thing is, I can't believe you beat me with a roll up. I can't go out like that. You can't just roll me up. That's not. You can't do things that way, which makes sense. And Mox's thing is, there's nothing left here to talk about until Paige forced the issue. I think, and I don't want to make a comparison with Austin and Rock, because it's not Austin and Rock, but it is, in as much as their biggest beef, despite Vince, despite heel turns, despite whatever, their biggest beef forever was, I have to prove I'm the best. I have to. And I am the best, except for you. Because when people talk about this company, they mention both of us. And I don't like that. I want them to mention me and not you. I have to be the best here. So for me, that's what Mox and Paige are. That it's they both have to be the best. And for each of them in their mind, at least storyline perspective, they are the best in the company. So as long as you have breath in your lungs and you're considered the best, I got a problem with that.
Right.
So, to get that win, even though you're still going to be here next week, even though you haven't left to go to another company or anything like that, I got bragging rights now. And these guys have really good matches, and they can circle back to this 6 months from now if they want to, or whatever that looks like, and it'll still work. Because again, no titles, nothing involved, nothing, just the two of them. I think they're going to kill it on Sunday. I really think that way.
Okay. Well, yeah. I like that perspective. And I was thinking too that I was like, well, yeah, they were both world champion, AEW world champions, that is. And so they have a lot of that in common. I think, Tom, you're absolutely right. And as you were talking about it, I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's the purpose of it. And I'm not sure if that translated
Probably
to
not.
me, but that makes a lot of sense.
It may not translate at all.
Right.
It may have just been that's what I took from it. But you're right. On TV, did it make? I was kind of left. I kind of connected the dots on my own, because I didn't really get told. I kind of liked that I didn't get told, but I could have had just a few more breadcrumbs instead of me having to, to find the prize myself. So I agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely didn't show that too much on TV, because there is a lot of stuff that just had me questioning for a little while. Like, why are these two guys still fighting? They've already had all these matches, But to the point of what Tom said is that, while you're still breathing, you can still be considered the best, and I have to beat it out of you is basically what I think they tried to. I just don't think that the full message got on TV, the way that they wanted to. And Tom, while you're here, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about Jon Moxley bleeding in every single match that he has had for the past 3 months? There's a lot of people who's been complaining about it. What do you think?
Now, he didn't last week against he made the other guy bleed.
No, he bled there after the match was over.
That's right, he did. I don't know. I mean, let's be honest. Let's all three be honest with the audience and everybody here. People want to hate this company, and they're going to find everything they can and they just want to find things to reinforce their hate for this company. And they want Mox to be Dean Ambrose. They can't stand that he's Jon Moxley. So let's just call it for what it is. That's some of it. It may not be all of it, but I would guess and say that's at least 50, 60% of it. The other 40%, yeah, I can kind of see. Like, why do we need to do it every match? Does it cheapen it every week? Flair did it when he left, retired from WWE and went to TNA. He bled every week. It seems like in pull aparts he bled. I mean, it was just, we're gonna go to commercial. Well, he bled when we went to commercial. Like it was just drop of a hat. It happened. So I think there is a line there between I have to be considered the toughest guy here. I need to get color in order to establish how tough I am. From my chair, I don't know that he ever needs to bleed again for me to believe that he's probably, that's a big locker room. That's a big statement to make, but he's probably next to Danielson and maybe a couple other guys, one of the toughest guys, not only in the business, but definitely in that locker room. So does he need to bleed for that? Not for me. I see where the criticism comes in at, but I did have to preface that with, people really want to hate those guys. They want to hate that company. So John bleeding every week's not helping their cause any, I don't think. Not that he cares, but that's probably some of it.
Right. Well, the Mister and I had a conversation about it the other day, and I was like, well, Flair is a good comparison because God, he always bleeds. But the one thing I mentioned, I was like, okay, do you not remember the Sandman beating himself in the head with a beer can, making himself bleed before he even made it to the ring? I mean, he did that like every time, and nobody said anything about it. So I don't know.
It's part of his gimmick. It's who he was. Yeah, you're right.
So the bleeding might be part of Moxley's gimmick right now. I don't know why. I mean, but and the thing too is, when you said that people want him to be Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley was around before the character Dean Ambrose was even thought of. So
true, but how many WWE diehards know that?
Right, exactly, and
you know what I mean?
So that's how Mox made it to the WWE. He if you go back on YouTube and watch all the stuff he did, I mean he did a lot of crazy stuff before then.
Oh, yeah.
And he did the WWE thing for a while. Once that was over and done with, he was ready to move on back to Jon Moxley. This is so I mean,
yeah, I think a big part of it is that he's trying to prove that he's more than Dean Ambrose too,
right.
to what Tom was kind of pointing at a while ago. He was like, I'm not that goofy, I'm going to fight you over a plant type of guy who swings his legs on the rope when I bounce off of him. I'm not that goofy guy that I portrayed over there. I'm a big, I'm a tough guy and I'm going to show you what I can actually do. And I think that's a big part of it. I think once he settles down, it'll probably calm down a little bit, but I think that's a big part of it.
Let's see. We got a few people that said Will, Ron, and Carlos all say that they think Adam Page is going to take the win. Ron said that Page wins this one as he needs it more than Mox. Let's see. Yeah, Adam Page wins.
It's one of those weird things too, where like a year ago you could say maybe that, oh, Page wins this. Hey, if he wins it now, do we all go, oh, that Hangman Page, he beat Mox? I mean, I think we all know Page has got it. Page is a star.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think either one of these guys technically need to win this match at all, in my opinion.
I honestly think that it should be kind of like a no contest and the referee calls it.
That way it leaves the door open, not for next week, but maybe 2 months from now, 3 months from now. That way the question's just not answered. I think they don't do many non-finishes in that company, but I think they could maybe do it here, and it would hopefully make sense.
Yeah, and they can have they can have them busy with other stuff too. Something could happen during that match to segue for a little bit, and then once that's over and done with, maybe they come back to it. Who knows? I mean,
True, very
you
true.
could do that. Ron says Sandman still beats his head in with the beer can. See, but yeah, this is definitely gonna be good. Good, I think it'll
All right,
get over the
guys,
park.
hold the phone. Dad is in the chat, okay? So y'all better behave yourself,
I'm
okay?
being a good boy. You know?
So I made them a special button for when they came in. All right. But yeah, I think honestly if they just beat the living daylights out of each other and it become like a no contest, and then maybe the next week or maybe 2 weeks afterwards have them come together like backstage or something, just have a mutual respect type 5 seconds, and then they just part ways and then they move on. And then like Tom said, you could revisit that rivalry after some time had passed. I think that would be really great.
Ron, in this day and age, the information and content age, almost everyone is known for their past. I still get excited seeing indie talent from our region on TV. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's so satisfying.
And you know, our vision of how this ends is probably not going to happen
No.
because it's pro wrestling, and the underlying theme in pro wrestling is, oh, we're splitting up. Al, let me hit you with a chair. Let me hit you with a bus. Let me drop you off a roof, because that's how it's like. Well, we have to do that in order to lead to this. Because I've been the guy screaming for years, when and if the New Day's time comes, it should be the three of them are backstage and said, "Hey, we had a great run. I'll see you guys around. Best of luck to you. I'll call you. Let's do dinner next week. Let's hang out." And they bump fists, and that's the end of it. But you know when it happens, it's going to be heart wrenching. They're gonna destroy each other. One of them's going to destroy the other two. I don't want to see it because, like, in everyday life, does every relationship end with a breakup? Not all of them. Sometimes it's just two people are like, "Look, we did the best we could. This didn't work out. Maybe I'll call you sometime." And that's just how it goes. But like, this is pro wrestling. We have to solve problems with violence. So there you go.
I was about to say pro wrestling is a train wreck, Tom.
Very true. Very true.
They treat it like such.
Very true.
You don't ever do the you go your way and I go mine. So
Yeah, I guess sometimes I'm just like, it'd be nice to do something and see something different. You know what I mean? Like that, to me, that causes me to tune in more than anything else. It's like, oh, they turned on Sammy, or great. You know what I mean? Like, or you know what I mean? And we all knew that had to end. I get that. And I thought it ended wonderfully with Sammy being forced to make a choice. But like, you know, everybody kept saying, well, they're going to destroy Sammy. I'm like, of course they are. Cause they, you know, we have to go that route. But anyway, I digress. So,
well, you know, as we all say, pro wrestling, they have this.
yeah.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree with Tom. I don't think they destroyed Sammy.
Oh, no, they didn't destroy him. I'm saying that's, you know, for the longest time we were talking about how does this end? And people are like, oh, they're going to destroy him. I'm like, well, of course they're going to destroy him because of X, Y, and Z. I'm glad it didn't go that route. That's what I meant by that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We good now. We good.
It's the best storyline in that company by far, in my opinion.
Yes. I love it.
For the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe longer.
God, yeah. Forever.
Yes.
All right. Next up, we have the TNT Championship on the line. Samoa Joe versus Wardlow. I'm glad they had Wardlow do that little interview with JR like a couple weeks ago, so we could kind of see a little bit more of the character of Wardlow. I think that's been seriously lacking with him. Of course, he hasn't really been on TV all that much since the MJF stuff anyway. So for him to have a few minutes of just being able to develop his character a little bit more and showing who he is on television is way overdue. So I was glad to see that. I have no idea who's going to win here. It could go either way.
I think Wardlow goes over.
Yeah.
It feels that way. And I mean, if it's a discussion about who needs to win or whoever, I think Wardlow does need to win this.
Wardlow does need a win.
And I love that explanation, the photos of his dad and everything. That was some emotional stuff they showed. And I'm like, man, I wish they'd done this months ago.
Right.
It's amazing what adding a little color to an angle will do for the angle and the guys in it. And I think they proved that again with that spot. I thought that was very well done.
These two guys are heavy hitters, so it's going to be a fight to the finish.
Big time.
Yeah, I think Wardlow definitely needs to win a little bit more with Samoa Joe. Although if Samoa Joe were to sort of kind of win and maybe win the match, I wouldn't be extremely upset about it. I'd feel bad for Wardlow, but I like Samoa Joe too. But at the same time, Samoa Joe also has the Ring of Honor Television Championship. So with that starting over there on Thursdays now, he kind of needs to be, his focus needs to be over there as well. So him dropping it to Wardlow carrying on the TNT Championship on AEW, Samoa Joe goes and helps Ring of Honor, brings that up. That's a good way of separating the two. So.
And I think we've kind of all forgotten what a star Wardlow was after he beat MJF.
Yeah.
I mean, he was blowing the roof off every building. He got the pop of the night every night, just about. I mean, Mox was probably the only one bigger than him at that point in terms of fan reaction, and maybe Darby. But he was probably at least number 3 in the pecking order in terms of fan reaction. And now it's, did they drop the ball when that happened? Yeah, probably so. They let it slide quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think some of it too had to deal with the MJF drama of him leaving and
because the very next week, it overshadowed. I think it really overshadowed him. So
it sure did.
It's a shame because, let's think about the main event, guys. Yeah, but the guy you just beat is not going to suffer because of immediately you flipped and you did this, and I'm staying home and Tony Khan's or whatever. Yeah, but we kind of forgot Wardlow's sitting there and his biggest bragging right was, I beat that guy. Now that guy's disappeared. And we all know he didn't disappear because of Wardlow, disappeared because of a contract negotiation. So, and plus, you got Wardlow, who is basically he's more athletic than Batista. He's got charisma. He's got a great look. I mean, he's still got a lot of years left. If utilized the right way, I think he could be big, and I think he's still got an opportunity. I don't think it's over for him by any stretch, but I do believe he beats Joe. I think so.
Yeah, and it'll be a good one. It only took me. Wow, I'm surprised that it's taking me 40 minutes to mention that I was at Revolution last year. I'm a little sad, honestly. I'm like, that's my show. That's my show. But to Tom's point about Wardlow's reaction, it was that night that I was there last year at Revolution when Wardlow turned on MJF. That place went ballistic. It was great. We had such a good time. I've got it on video somewhere of Wardlow marching down there and handing the ring to CM Punk. So it was a great moment, and I'm happy that they're trying to give him a little bit of that momentum back, and hopefully it'll all work out for him because he's really great.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got? Ron says, agree with Tom, but they just did that with the bloodline, so I don't know if they'll do it.
I think it goes back to that previous conversation.
Okay. Scott says shenanigans are fun. Go Samoa Joe. Scott has been a
Truth.
troll lately. Carlos says Wardlow wins after what Joe did to his hair. He is going to get killed. Yes, all the ladies are very upset about Wardlow's hair, by the way. We're not happy. Wardlow for the win. Win, lose, or draw, it'll be a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if this was actually announced or not. Was this announced or am I just fantasy booking?
I don't know.
I think so.
Okay. Well, they hinted at it.
Yeah, because they showed up on the ramp. Wasn't it during Rampage? They showed up on the ramp and disappeared.
Yes. I thought it was announced, but I don't remember actually looking at it on the official card when I looked this morning now. So I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I might be jumping. You know, it's going to happen either this weekend or a little bit later. So we'll go ahead and talk about it. So what do you guys feel about this?
If the Elite hadn't just won the belts back, I would say this is House of Black's match to win. But it does kind of feel like a title change is too soon, which is a shame. And I love House of Black. We've talked about them a bunch. I know you guys have, and I have as well. And together we have. They're just so good. They're so, them with Dead Triangle was what a great series of matches that was. I'm happy with whoever walks away here. And as with the Elite versus Dead Triangle, these guys are going to absolutely just do all they can to steal the show on Sunday and just flat out kill each other. And they probably will. But I'm definitely looking forward to this. I do think a title change is too soon, but we'll have to wait and see.
And the one thing about it too is I don't think Malachi Black's been in the ring too much, but he's going to remind everybody why he's as good as he is. Definitely reminding everybody because he's very agile in the ring. He's a heavy hitter as well. Seeing him going toe to toe with the Elite, Brody King and Buddy Matthews, they're good in their own right too. I think they'll all match up very well. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. And Malachi Black and Kenny Omega. I'm just sitting here thinking about this match, and I'm just like, oh yes, bucket. This sounds so good.
And honestly, as long as the world title's on MJF, if you don't have plans for Kenny to take it, then Kenny could be distracted. Yeah. If you don't have plans for the Bucks to be tag champs, they need to be distracted. They don't need to be, but it's good that they are. So you put these three guys together, it solves two different issues. You keep them both in main event spots. You keep them both with gold around their waist, but not the gold. Right. So if you take them from them, that opens the door for other things. But like with House of Black, they're a trio. And you can not split them up, but you can work them in singles matches and tag matches or whatever. But they're a trio. So technically speaking, maybe it is the right time to get them the titles. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to hurt Kenny. Nothing hurts Kenny and the Bucks. After what happened last year, nothing. Not to dredge that up again, but nothing hurts these guys unless they were to flat out do something heinous themselves, which hopefully they won't. But I don't think you hurt them in the eyes of the fans whatsoever.
I think I would be good either way, honestly. And I wouldn't mind seeing a feud, a program out of this too, because House of Black more than deserves this too. So why not?
I don't think that House of Black necessarily has to win right this second. They could draw this out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know if I want it drawn out.
Well, not a really long time. I mean, Double or Nothing is just at the end of May, so that's
fair. That's fair. I'm just
Kenny
remembering the
Omega
7
versus
match.
Malachi Black. That's a Laura Stream match right now.
I'm just remembering the 7-match series we just got out of with the
Well,
Elite and Death Triangle, and they were excellent matches. But man, by match 3 and 4, I'm exhausted. I'm like, oh God, we got to stop now. Whew.
what I mean by drag it out is they still be in a program with each other, not necessarily wrestling all the time. There's a difference.
Gotcha. That's true.
I mean, MJF and Bryan Danielson have been in a program for months, but they haven't touched each other. I mean, besides
Very
pull
true.
apart, whatever, but not in matches.
And plus you could look at it. I mean, Black obviously, well, not obviously, reportedly wanted out because as soon as his boy Triple H took over, everybody thinks, oh, it's going to be, Strawberry Fields forever in that company now. And I'm like, there's more than just that guy to worry about. There's still executives. There's still script writers. Oh, come on. So, we'll see. But maybe the thought is these guys just tried to leave, or 2 of them did. Why would I put titles on them? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
There ain't no way that a certain person is still not in Triple H's ear either. Omos versus Brock Lesnar. So, I love Brock Lesnar. He's my favorite in that company, and I am upset because I do not want to see that. But you could have with the Elite the way.
That's a whole nother story for another day. Sorry.
Yeah. With the Elite, the way that Kenny and the Bucks come out there, they come out there very sure of themselves, very confident, swaggy. Nothing bothers me. I'm coming to do what I do best, and y'all deal with it. I'm going to do it my way, right? You could have Malachi Black and the House of Black mess with them a little bit and see if they can get into the Elite's head, because usually you can't really mentally mess with them because they don't let anything bother them. So they could.
That is a great idea. Yeah, psychology.
And I'm not the
Mind
biggest
games,
Elite
that's
fan,
what I meant.
but
Mind games, psychology, they're all the same. That's a great idea, Marie.
Yeah, because they can mess with anybody. I mean, they're gimmicking everything, the way they disappear and reappear, and all the turn the house lights down and there's smoke, and they've got the headgear and stuff. I mean, it's.
Then they got Julia Hart too, who sometimes just comes out on their behalf just to mess with them, pretty much. Like,
yep.
Again, mind games.
Yeah, she's great too.
Mm-hmm. Alma is here. Glad to see you again.
Oh man, I'm sorry you've been sick.
Flu is horrible. She thinks House of Black is going to be the trio's champions, and House of Black is on the verge of being the best heel faction in AEW right now.
Entirely
Russell,
possible.
thank you for watching, or thank you for joining us. And, well, that's going to be another show for another day. Whew.
Yeah, we could talk for hours on that. How disappointed we are in that.
Oh God.
All right, let's shift focus to the ladies. We have a AEW women's title match, a triple threat with Jamie Hayter, our champion, Saraya versus Ruby Soho. I don't have the I made a Jamie Hayter button and I don't have it on this one. Oh well. I'll make sure it's added for next time.
Oh yeah, Timothy would love it. Yeah, there's all kinds of things going on right here. You got Saraya and Tony Storm. They kind of have their own thing going on, or as the Mister says, their own damage control going on. Let's see. Then Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker. I'm still wondering. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of when her and Britt are going to go at it. To me. and then you got Ruby Soho. Who was? Oh, she was with somebody, wasn't she? In this whole thing, or no? I can't remember.
Ruby?
Yeah, she didn't have somebody as well, did she? Because Jamie has Britt, Saraya was with Tony Storm, and then you got Ruby Soho. Or is she just acting alone?
That sounds right, but now I can't remember who it was. I don't know how long it lasted.
I gotcha.
I knew
I
she
think you're
came
right.
out to help Sheeta once, but Sheeta kind of disappeared. So I
Yeah.
don't know what happened to her in the storyline because she was kind of in the middle of it for a little while, like
I gotcha.
because she was being dissed by like Tony Storm and Saraya, kind of being pushed to the side, and she accidentally interrupted and messed up something that they were doing within a match. And then, she's kind of looking bewildered one during one episode of Dynamite, and then like the next week or two, Saraya and Tony Storm, they go full blown heel.
Mm-hmm.
But where's Sheeta? What happened to her? Where was she in this story? I don't know. Was there
Does
like
she?
a travel issue or what?
And here's the question here: if she's just off TV, and if in fact she's just biding her time, does she play an integral role in this match? Does
She could.
She could. That would be definitely a surprise. Because I'm thinking about, I think it was Saraya that was in it doing tag team or something like that, and she chose Tony Storm, and Sheeta was not very pleased with that, and you could tell by the look of her face. That's why I say that, because you know, a lot of us probably forgot about it, but Sheeta hasn't forgot about that.
No.
I mean, to me, I'm not crazy about this storyline.
I'm not either.
And I spoke to, I was recording with Phil Lindsay. Shout out to Phil Lindsay. And he totally disagreed with me. He loved the idea of Saraya and Tony, and sort of as an outsider's kind of gimmick, and he's down with it. But for me, and it's the same thing I feel about the goofball sports entertainer line that they throw around all the time with Jericho. I know it's just good humor, and it's just to poke fun, and it's okay. It's not the end of the world. But to me, in my opinion, maybe this is a too extreme of a take, but I believe you cheapen your brand every time you suggest that people on your brand are better than because they work for another company. And I don't think you're doing any service to the roster that was already there. And I know this is an old school thing to take it back to, right? But in old school Crockett, people were in Crockett territory and in the NWA because NWA had the greatest talent in the world with the only world champion, the best wrestlers on the planet in Crockett Promotions. And yes, of course, the rule back then was don't mention Vince, don't mention anybody else. You just talk about here, and I get that. I'm not saying you don't ever mention anybody again. That's ridiculous. But at the same time, if you set foot in my company, this company is the best company you've ever seen with the best wrestlers you've ever seen, and you're humble and thankful and grateful to be here, and you're here to make a name for yourself. But you got Saraya and, Tony talking about, this homegrown talent, they're nothing. We've been all over the world. We've worked for who and everything. And I'm like, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? And fans aren't stupid. They know what's up, but like, I don't know. That world title should be mentioned. I like that's why MJF is putting it forward. Like, if I don't have this title, I'm dead. This title is the only thing I'm living for. It's the only thing that matters. I love that. There's not enough of that. There needs to be, I'm so grateful to be here, but I'm going to prove I belong here, and I will own this company. That ring is mine. It belongs to me because it should, because I'm the guy, or I'm the girl, I'm whoever. It's the best company in the world by far. I don't know that we hear that enough with these guys. And I don't know. It just kind of feels, and back when the MJF thing was happening, and all he could talk about was Triple H, and all he could talk about was going somewhere else, and how this place sucked, but that place didn't, or whatever. And I'm like, man, every time you say that, you're making this place feel like it's not important. So anyway, again, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I don't know. It's not about not giving the other guys airtime on your own show, because I hear that a lot. Oh, if they just stop talking about WWE, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, it's fine to talk about other companies, but you remind fans this is the best company on the planet. We're the
I don't
ones that are
mind.
killing it.
I don't mind too much at that point when MJF. Now he said it too much, but every once in a while, I didn't have a problem with MJF saying, like, the war of, the bidding war of 2024.
Hmm.
It fit within his character because he's supposed to hate, ugh, look at all of these people around me, gross, ew, I hate being here, and yada yada. But at the same time, you should have had that baby face on the other side of him saying, this is the best place in the world to be. If they had that going up against what MJF was saying, I don't think that anyone would have had as much of a problem with that.
And that makes sense. But like, and I see what you're saying, but at the same time, Flair was the biggest heel in Crockett, the biggest heel, and he always paid respect to the company, the
Right.
brand, the owner, the titles, his opponents. Because, and this is off topic, so my apologies, but like this thing where guys run down their opponents, this guy, he can't wrestle. He's beneath me. He sucks. Well, you better win. You better
Yeah.
win. Because if you don't, you look like an idiot. And number two,
Well,
if
and
you do win, why do we care? You should have won. If this guy sucks like you say he does, why do I care if you beat him? You should beat him. Who cares? But when you say this guy I'm working is one of the best in the world, I got my work cut out for me Saturday night. I'm going to do everything I can, bring everything I have, but I'll be the better man. Then when you win, it feels like more of a challenge.
to MJF's credit, though, once he won that title, he didn't really say that anymore.
Didn't have to. You're right.
So
You're right. It's so odd. He's great. I have no
Yeah.
issue with him or his character. It's so odd though sometimes how it comes off. You know what I mean? But like,
yeah.
yeah, he's awesome. I got no quarrel with him.
Well,
at
with
all.
any company, with any talent, with any storyline, there's going to be things that you like, and there's going to be things that you don't
Oh,
like, and you're
sure.
gonna be like, But overall, you're like, okay, this works, and I like it. But I have my own opinion, so I'm gonna just kind of that doesn't work for me a little bit. But as
You're
far
willing
as
to
this goes,
you're willing to suspend disbelief as a whole because you enjoy the product. You're willing to suspend and get past little things because you enjoy the company as a whole, for sure.
I really think that Jamie Hayter needs to stay champion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's way too soon to put it on Soraya. She just cannot have the matches, like this right now. She needs to warm up
It's
a
got
little
to be
bit
a
more.
slow go. Yeah, it's got to be a slow
And
go.
they have dropped the ball on Ruby Soho, and she's not quite to the point where she needs to be champion either. I think they need to build her up a little bit better too. I'm glad she's in this match though.
I agree with
Glad
that.
she's okay after that nonsense with Ty Conti and Sammy.
Oh
that
gosh.
that
That was
never
horrible.
that never needed to happen. Don't anybody come to me talking about these things happen. No, they don't. He dropped her on her neck. Okay, I'm not blind.
Yep.
You didn't even look to see how she was going to land. That's on him. Period.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he meant to do it, but it was careless. She's lucky
Yeah.
she's walking right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That was rough.
Yeah.
Ray all day says Jamie wins, Soho turns heel.
I don't think she needs to turn heel.
No, okay.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
They have too many heel women right now.
I agree. HBT from the Straight Up Wrestling Show said Tom had a good point and says hello to everybody here in the chat. Go follow those guys. I'm gonna go on show with y'all soon. I don't know when.
Yeah, we all need to do a watch along together again sometime.
Mm-hmm.
I had accidentally left this out, and then when Tom mentioned Jericho, I was like, oh crap, I forgot his match. So I had to add it really quick. Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho will be on the card too. This build has been all over the place.
Yeah, it's playing a little crazy.
Yes, I can agree with that. But we all know Ricky Starks is about to take off for sure. And I think him and Chris Jericho, I kind of like the idea of what they're doing. I think overall Ricky Starks is going to get that win. Jericho is the king of putting the younger talent over. Um, I don't think it's going to be like a Ricky Starks is going to beat him. He's going to have to work for it.
He's already worked for it.
Do what?
He's already worked for it.
Well, yeah.
He's had to go through all this crap.
I'm talking about match wise.
Yeah, no.
I'm talking about match wise.
I'm gonna let Tom say his piece, and then I'm gonna jump in a minute.
Okay.
I think it starts match to win for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Starks has everything to lose. Well, he don't have anything to lose, really, does he? What am I trying to say here? He has to be the one that has to prove himself, so to speak. Chris Jericho don't need to prove himself, but Chris Jericho is known for this. But I think it's going to be really good because Jericho could still go. And Ricky Starks, like I says, he's about to explode. I mean, he is on that cusp. I've always liked him ever since I saw him on NWA. I always liked him.
I'm a huge fan of Ricky Starks. I think he's fantastic. And I was so excited for him after that match with MJF. I was like, "Oh, I can see it now." You just look into the horizon and you go, "I can see it now, Ricky Starks." And then here comes Chris Jericho. And I don't have a problem with him working with Jericho because I think that's a good thing for him. But on the other hand, I don't know whose ideas some of these things that happened through this build were, but they were terrible. You had Ricky Starks beat Jericho twice. And then after that, he still has to prove himself by going through this big, long gauntlet match that he eventually loses.
That don't make no sense.
I'm sorry. It was insane. And then after that, he just walks in there and Jericho kind of hands him the match. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm like, okay, he had to prove himself in this gauntlet match that he lost. You would think that would be the end of the conversation within the story, right? But, at the same time, Ricky Starks doesn't have anything to prove either because he beat Jericho twice. So I have not liked this storyline. I have not liked this build. I'm excited about the match because these two guys will put on a really great match. They will. And if Ricky Starks does not win, I will be mad.
Yeah, I'm with you. It has been all over the place. There's no doubt about it. And it does feel like they dragged it out. It kind of feels like they dragged it out because something else was supposed to happen and it didn't. It's almost like Ricky was going to move on and then like it didn't happen. I'm just speculating here, but maybe he was going to move on against somebody that possibly got hurt or that wasn't there. I don't know. It does kind of feel like they kept him with Chris for way too long. It'll be fine if he wins. But if he doesn't win, you're going to get all these people again, ladies, who hate this company and are looking for every reason they can to dump on it. Who are going to say, told you that Jericho is all about himself. He doesn't care about anybody else, and all he does is win, win, win. All right. So, but I think Ricky does need to go over here.
I think, too, that despite the build, which, like y'all said, I didn't say it was great, but so a match like this deserves to be on a pay-per-view card. And while I'm glad that it is on the card, perhaps it's like Tom says, something could have happened. Something got lost in translation, I think, too. That was what I was thinking when you were talking.
I don't want to dog on Jericho too much. I kind of get on Tailgate Party and kind of, complain about Jericho almost every week. I just don't think that lately, I don't think he does it on purpose. I'm going to put it out there. I honestly think that he is really actually trying to help the younger talent, but I don't think it always works.
Yeah, and not to defend Chris, because I don't know what the truth is behind the scenes of whether or not he wants to go over, doesn't want to go over, I don't know. But if he were to put over every young talent he faced, then by opponent number 4, who cares?
I understand that.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but like, who cares? Like, if you got it for Jericho to remain up here, I think he can put younger guys over and not have to lose the match. But it is a tightrope, 100% a tightrope for him to walk, because it can give the appearance that he's winning too much. I totally agree with that.
I understand that point, and he shouldn't lose every little thing that he's in.
Right.
But as long as it doesn't hurt the other guy in the process, that's been the problem. After he gets done, the other guy doesn't mean anything, and he's just left on the sidelines fumbling around. And I'm like, well, what happened to that guy? He had all this momentum. What happened?
Yeah.
And then Jericho gets done with him and moves on. It feels like Jericho gets done with him and he moves on to his next victim, and he's going to, suck all the momentum out of him too and move on. It just looks like that. I don't think that that's what's happening, not on purpose anyway.
I agree.
But it looks like that.
100%. There's got to be a way for if the opponent's not meant to win, there's got to be some kind of way for that guy to save face. Right. Even if it means Jericho cheated, Daniel Garcia helped him, something, and it's not giving the babyface a crutch, but it's giving him a reason to look the fans in the eye the next night and say, "I gave everything I had, but you guys saw what happened."
Yeah.
On another night, Chris Jericho's mine, but in the meantime, I'll move on to whatever.
Yeah, like the thing with Eddie Kingston, that whole thing, like. He got the initial win at Revolution last year, but that storyline just went way too long. And in my opinion, he should have won that last match, that death match there that I was at. I got to see the first match and the last match. That's weird. Anyway, that last match, I just feel like Eddie should have won that. But at the same time, I don't think it would have been so bad that Eddie lost that match if that match was good, because it wasn't. It was horrible. So I think that might have been what hurt that more, was that last match was just terrible.
Yeah, and it's
about it.
You're right, and as I said, it's a tightrope in every company, not just this one.
Yeah.
It's not just Jericho. It's any veteran who has spent X number of years in the business. At some point, when is it time? I don't want to say step aside. That's so cliche. But when is it time to, let's give someone else a little bit of spotlight. Let's help someone else. There's an old saying that the heel never wins, the baby never loses. At the end of the day, it has to be that way. And that makes sense. If you dissect it, it makes sense. If the heel always wins, there's no hope. Remember the Man Helmsley era? Because I remember, if the heels always win, there's no hope. If the baby always loses, well, again, there's no hope. So it can't always be one or the other. There's got to be a balance and a give and take. Because at the end of the day, if the villain wins, as a sidebar, I hate movies where the villain wins. Well, Tom, it's not realistic. Shut up. I don't want to hear that. I don't want when the villain wins. You go to the movies for escape. You go to the movies because real life sucks. The world's on fire most of the time. I just want to escape for a couple hours, right? So, I don't want the villain to win. It's not why I paid $20 to get in. I don't want to see the villains always win in wrestling. I know it's a work, and I get it, but it's cool to see your favorite baby face or the top guy who happens to be a face get his arm raised. That's fun. That's a good time. So I think people are suckers for that. I still am. I'm still a fan.
Yeah. Yeah, especially, Alora can attest to this too, and Tom, I'm sure you can as well. Those of us who really suffer from mental illnesses, depression, anxiety, and all that kind of stuff, we feel hopelessness all the time. So
Mhm.
when we gravitate towards something that we like, whether it be movies or books or TV or wrestling or sports or whatever it is, we want to feel hope in something. And I think when they book their shows or they write their storylines or they're trying to tell this certain story, that they need to keep that in mind, that we have to eventually give these people hope. We can't just snatch it away from them all the time, because then they don't have anything.
Send them home happy.
Yeah.
Send them home happy, for sure.
Drew McIntyre singing at the end of the night will do it for me anytime.
Does he have a good voice? I don't know.
I don't know. All right, real quick. Ray says that he loves Ricky and he hopes he should get the win. And Carlos says that Ricky wins if no one else gets involved.
And they can't because JS has been banned from ringside.
They have?
Yeah, I remember
That's so
that
good.
now. Yeah.
That's so good. They need to do it like they did with Jay White versus Eddie Kingston. And just, they said that Bullet Club was banned from ringside and they kept it that way. They didn't even try to come down there. All right. Last but certainly not least, definitely the best thing that's been on their television program, the Iron Man match for the AEW World Title, our champion MJF versus Bryan Danielson. So I think opposite that this build has been actually done very well. I'm looking forward to this. Tom, are you there? Or did you freeze?
I think he froze.
I think he froze too. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
We're going to have to remove him from the stream for a few minutes while he tries to gather himself.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. I remember when they did the first Iron Man match in WWE, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. I watched that every day. Every day. I memorized it move for move. I was so obsessed with that match back in the day. You're back!
I hope so.
I remember actually recording the audio onto my cassette tape. Kids, that's how old I am. And memorizing this match. So, but, that had a good story behind it. That was one of the reasons why I remembered it, and plus Shawn Michaels was my favorite. With this, Bryan Danielson, he's no stranger to having to overcome obstacles. 2014 much. But I really think this is going to be really good. The fact that he's pretty much, he's a ring general, and I listened to Chris Daniels promo from a couple weeks ago, and whew, it was that was really good stuff, and people are going to want to see Danielson win, but we all know how MJF is. I think Danielson can get a pin or two on him in this match, but ultimately I think he'll get screwed out of the victory. But it was still going to be really, really good.
I think they've done an amazing job here. As you said earlier, I think they've done an amazing job this build up. And unlikely, perhaps, I would not be surprised to see Danielson win. And you could always make the argument that it makes more sense to keep it on MJF. They've just begun to scratch the surface of this. How dastardly can he be? What can he say this week? That kind of thing. And it begs the question: if they were to take it from him, what does he do next? What's left? But I think they've done an amazing job with this, and I think if Danielson gets his pound of flesh on Sunday, it probably won't matter because he'll think MJF's going to bleed buckets on Sunday. I mean, buckets. And Danielson may not at all. That'd be something.
Yeah.
But he'll get his pound of flesh. I would not be surprised. I'm not predicting he will because I hate predictions. What are we doing, right? But typically, as much as I watch
just good
stuff,
fun.
I was going to say, as much as I analyze and watch this stuff and follow it and write about it, whatever, they could just do whatever they want to do. I mean, it makes it either way. I think MJF retains, but I would not be shocked to see Danielson win either.
That'd be awesome, actually.
That's an interesting take.
Because they've just done so much to get him to this point, made him go through so much, and you could just feel the frustration. It'll pay off if MJF has to be carried out of the ring. If he's got to be carried out, somehow he still won.
Yeah.
If somehow he's won, but he's carried out, I think Danielson got what he needed to get. He doesn't necessarily need the belt, but I think it's going to have to be something big, in my opinion, for this to pay off for Danielson, where he doesn't look like he maybe couldn't get the job done.
Right. And MJF, like you say, there are people who are trying to hate on this company. So they are looking for any excuse to throw shade, even on the best of what the company has to offer. And people like to say, oh, MJF doesn't wrestle enough. He must not be very good at it. So they just let him do all the talking and, sparingly wrestle because he's not really good. He's about to prove a whole bunch of people wrong on Sunday.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Darby Allin versus MJF is my favorite match that AEW of any of the on AEW. So,
wow.
Isn't that the one that you were at? No. You were at CM Punk. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, we were all out in 2021. God, that long. Jeez.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
But it's going to be really good. I think MJF is probably going to win. And I don't think it's quite time yet because, like you said, where would he go from here? So if they would wait just a little bit longer until maybe closer to the end of the year, to where people could start speculating, okay, he just lost the title, he doesn't have anything left, his character is kind of like, crazy. Is he? We're closer to the bidding war of 2024. What's going to happen? What's he going to choose? So,
and Danielson does not look shook at all. He's frustrated, but it's hard for me to put into words what I'm trying to get out. But he's shaken, not stirred. He just doesn't. He's got that look of a veteran, but more importantly, he's got that look in his eye that says, and it's that bit where he says, "I'm going to expose you." And he just gets that look, that squint to his eye that says, I know what you're about. I know what you're doing. You can do all this. You can play these games. You're a fraud. And I'm going to show the world you're a fraud. Because let's be honest, with very few exceptions, Danielson could legitimately tie up anybody on the mat.
Right.
Anybody. Brock might be an exception. Trying to think of guys that would give him a run for his money on the mat. That's tough. But I think in that company, Shibata, maybe. I'm just trying to think of guys that could counter Danielson on the mat. I mean, he's with that kind of expertise and that knowledge and that know-how is confidence. He's not sweating MJF at all. And you're right. MJF will show us something Sunday. Is he going to show us the same old character? I wouldn't be surprised to see some chain wrestling from MJF a few different times in that match. And maybe something to make Danielson kind of sit there and give him that smile and say, okay, all right, I see. You came to fight. All right. But the great thing about Danielson, is most of the case with the Blackpool Combat Club, they've got that mat wrestling, the chain wrestling. I'll do those things, and you can't, I'm the best in the ring at that. But then they've got that hard edge where they're driving the point of the elbow into your neck and into your forehead, and like, I don't have to pin you by putting my forearm across your face and yanking your head to the side, but that's how I'm gonna try to pin you. And it's just those little moves that tell you these guys are different than any other quote unquote baby face here. So Danielson's got that. Danielson's got both sides of the blade. So in order for MJF to beat him with no help of any kind, quite frankly, that I'll be surprised if there's no shenanigans on Sunday with these two guys.
Yeah, like you were saying with Danielson and MJF, he first started with, no one thinks I'm a good wrestler, but I am. So he tries to prove that. And then, that doesn't faze Danielson. And then he tries to go into like the whole trying to expose him with Christopher Daniels. That doesn't faze Danielson. And then he tries to show that he's maniacal and he's crazy and he's just this heartless guy, with the story about his girlfriend and the car wreck and everything. That doesn't faze Danielson. And now he doesn't have anything. So he just broke down on Wednesday night and said, I don't have anything else but this title. And he goes really personal with Danielson because that's the only card he has left, because that is, he's used all of his hand already. He only has that one card left. And it worked a little bit, but not all the way to what MJF was looking for. So they've told this story. Great.
Yeah, good point. You're right. He's shown all his cards. Everything's on the table. And meanwhile, Danielson hasn't changed a bit. He's the same today as he was when they started this feud. But you're right. MJF, in order to keep him away, has been throwing one thing at him after another. Now he's out. And you don't have a choice but to face him. I think it's, for as much in that company as we go, why is Jericho still working starts? They do a lot of things where the buildup is just effing great.
Yeah.
Where you're left going, I can't believe how good this is. Like, it's so good. Like, I think this is one of those instances that this has just been top-notch storytelling.
Anything else, Laura, before? Nope. Yeah. Well, like with anything, with any company, with any storyline, any match, talent, whatever, you're going to like some things and you're going to dislike some things. Nothing is perfect. They're not going to do everything exactly the way you want it to or the way they should or whatever. But that doesn't mean we give up on them. That doesn't mean we throw the towel and say they suck and just, diss them like that. I mean, sometimes I might get a little upset, I'll be honest, but I definitely don't want AEW to go anywhere. That company holds a very special place in my heart, and I want them to succeed very much.
I agree with that.
Real quick, Carlos says that MJF just won the belt. He is not going to lose that fast.
Excuse me.
I would never say never.
Yeah, you never know.
He's probably right, but I would still never say never.
All right, guys. Well, that's the Revolution card so far. They could add something on Wednesday or Friday. Who knows? I don't think they're going to add too much more to this just because MJF and Danielson's going to be taking a whole hour. So they probably won't add too much. They might add like Jungle Boy and Christian, throw that in there at some point. But
they might
other
save
than that
for Double or Nothing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because Christian just came back. So we will see. All right, guys. As always, thank you so much for joining us this evening and hanging out with us and talking wrestling. Tom, you're just great, dude. We love you here. Thank you
I
so much
am?
for. Yeah, you are. You're good people. We love you.
I love you guys too. It's always a pleasure. Anytime.
Absolutely.
And
Glad I could join y'all tonight.
Yes, yay. Together again.
I know. The three peaches.
The three peaches. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about Peaches and Power Bombs. We are at 100 subscribers now on YouTube, so we have broken that barrier. Yay. We're just 4 away from 600 followers on Facebook. So y'all get on that. Tell your friends, even if they don't like wrestling, just say go like them anyway because, you know, they're awesome. So I appreciate you guys.
The more support we get, the more content we can provide for you. More
Absolutely.
better quality and stuff. So
all right, without further ado, we will bid y'all good night. Y'all have a good one.
Bye.
Good night, sweet peach. It's time to go. Good night, sweet